Yo, what is up, guys? Here with another video, keeping it consistent. Who would have thought? So I have one more like for fun match with the buddies. We didn't have enough time to. I didn't have enough time to pull out our next list today, which I will be uploading probably tomorrow morning. I'm gonna record it right after this, and then have it scheduled for tomorrow morning for local Sunday. I did not get to test it. We didn't have enough time, but I did get a chance to do one more match, and I just kind of wanted to throw together what I would like currently play if I just like with very very little effort or time put into it. Just I have this list that I played for this one match here. This is my current probably this is about what like standard would look for me right now. Except for the outliers I'll go over in a second. But everything here I really do like as you can see area. Maybe I should full screen this. Area has made its way into the main deck for sure. A single small world for sure. Prosperity seems really good. This is the hand trap lineup. This is kind of like with the 3 ashes as well. Like these 12 just seem like they belong in the main deck for the most part. If you want to play the hand trap route and you don't have the Charmies, these are like the 12. They just kind of get thrown in there and no questions asked. Some other points to make here. Still just only have the 1 infantry. Just haven't tested 2 yet, but that will change soon. So we'll get to see how that looks. And then the actual cards I was curious about testing. So everything here I would consider standard. Rand found its way back in the main deck. It was actually, in my personal list, it left, but it came back because you want to have the additional option for Shrine. As well as just another good card to discard. Megalo is currently here in the main deck as well as a card I'm testing, but I'm definitely preferring. And then, yeah, so any outliers here, triple pikes for the fish targets, and then other fish targets. So first we have here this TCG guide. This is butterfly fish. It's a common. It came out in this whole water support set. It's not as amazing as I thought it was. Well, it's not bad. It's just there's one thing I didn't like that I wish I'd do. So okay. It's 2 effects. First effect, if you discard it, you can add it back to your hand. So if you discard it, you activate the effect of separate channeling, and you say, I'm gonna add back to my hand. So it's 2 water discards in 1. I do like that. I like that. So 1, it's another level 3 target for Pike. It's a fish, so it summons off of Deep Sea King, and then also in your worst hands where you open the hands where you open a couple waters that don't do anything, and you kind of have to do like a Teus, grab a card, Pike, grab a card, and then Shrine, pitch a card. You're using a bunch of discards, and the discards you're using aren't like super huge value. That's kind of where the butterfly fish comes up. Like in those hands, if you open the butterfly fish, it'll be a little better. And so I would say right now, this butterfly fish is probably replacing my second minstrel. Typically, I do like 2 minstrel, but right now I'm trying the butterfly fish out, so that's replacing that card slot. And then also we have the Goaty. I don't know her name. Hold on. Her name is obviously 100%. It's Schiff. Something of the Goaty. All right. The other effect of butterfly fish is that if butterfly fish is in the graveyard, and I think if a water is removed from your field. If your water you control leaves the field, you can discard a card from your hand, summon it back, and then special summon butterfly fish. I wish it didn't have to discard. I understand why it discards. It's cool that it discards, but at the same time, I wish it didn't because that comes up in my match. And then we have the Shift Goaty here. And you can only use either of these effects, or one of the 2. You can't use both in 1 turn, which also is not so cool. So then you have Shift, and so what this does is you can banish it from your graveyard, target a water you control against a 500 attack. And then the standby phase in your opponent's turn, it will summon back to the field if it was banished, and banishes itself, or it can be banished under Shifter, you don't care. And then it's a quick effect synchro during the main phase on your opponent's turn. So it has some cool interactions there. And so we'll get into that. And so I guess what this card's mainly here for is, so what I really do like is this little card down here, bottom left corner, Porpoise. It's pretty cool. So if you have Shift and, so let's say you do a Deep Sea King and you have like Pike, Shift, Pike, you could use 2 Pikes to rank into a Bahamut Toad. And then you could get rid of your Bahamut on field and your other Pike on field, or you get rid of your Bahamut and your Deep Sea King to make like a Link 2 of some sorts. and then you can use shift and your third pike to then summon porpoise, and porpoise will summon back 2 pikes to the field to make your second Bahamut. So I like that, as well as what the porpoise does with the Goatee is that if you set up the porpoise and you have Goatee in your graveyard, when you banish your Goatee on your opponent's turn, you get shift back to the field, you have porpoise, you can quick synchro and do an 8, which we have Dragite for. I lost my love for Dragite. It's the only negate we ever had for water, but it's small trap negate, so it's not bad. So we brought it back in mainly only because of the shift and like the 6-8 thing going on. But then also, if you already have the Dragite, you could use the Dragite and shift to make level 10, which here we have Chenning. I chose Chenning over like the Deep Beyond, and because the Deep Beyond banishes your whole field and you don't get them back, you only get Deep Beyond. I don't love that. I'm sure it's good. We saw it on stream, it's good, but I don't know. I also did have space for another 10, and I've decided, I'm playing around between Chenning versus Gamir. I think Chenning is a little bit cooler than Gamir. I also like how Chenning works with another card we play here, different dimension ground, or whatever that's called. And I also like that, there's a lot of cards banishing right now. Chenning loves some cards banish, loves the shifter cards because it basically means whenever they banish a card, Chenning can be triggered. You can also trigger Chenning from the Virtue Stream, which I currently have in the side deck. Mainly I have Virtue Stream in the side deck because when your game plan is going to Deep Sea King, you're less, or at least the way I'm playing currently, you're less likely to get to that, like, you're not going to do the Poseidon play, where you send it off to the graveyard, discard a card, send back a bunch of level 3s, and make Virtue, the Virtue Dragon, to then search a Virtue Stream. So since you're less likely to do that, I decided to side the Virtue Stream just to have one less brick in the main deck. As well, it's really only going first card anyways, so yeah. But it is nice because it has a graveyard effect where you can banish this to make a card of water. So you can use that with the Chenning. You can use, and you can also use Shrine or Rhine in your graveyard to banish that, to also trigger. And then as well as you also have the Goatee, so you can manage the Goatee, and then your opponent also banishes card, your Prosperity. So there's a few options there. I do like it. And yeah, so we're playing with Chenning at the moment. And the other points in the extra deck, I took out the Dweller. Dweller's not bad. I just wanted to try. There's. If you guys have been following the matches lately, there have been some instances where being able to make a rank 4 on your opponent's board, making Kraken would have been better than Dweller in some cases. One, because you make Dweller, they can just shotgun the Princess in response, so that you kind of like, you don't really get too much value out of it. There is some value versus Fire King. I don't face a lot of Fire King at my locals, but what I do like is that if you make Kraken, they can no longer Princess because they don't control fire to pop with the Princess. Also, I think there's some interactions where they can't play because they don't have fires. So I do like Kraken. Also, it's a non-targeting pop, which would be amazing versus Rescue Ace because you can summon this and then you can pop the Hydrant, which would be cool. As well as, let's see, what else I got going here? Only 2 coral enemies. I do like double coral, but I think it comes up in very limited scenarios. So I don't hate it. I still think it's good. I only have one in this list because I can only fit it, and I'm playing around with cards. And then the last thing is I don't have Abyss Keeper in here, which I think in hindsight I actually probably do want Abyss Keeper. Probably will need to find its way back in this deck. I don't know if I care enough about it. And then I would say Zealantis. Man, Zealantis is slowly phasing out for me. I need to play this card at least once soon, or it's really just gonna get cut because it just doesn't come up enough. Maybe like a more generic like regional event where you're playing against a bunch of people who have no idea what you're doing, and maybe it's better there, but we'll see. And then last little notes here is in the side deck, cross out for the shifter, you gotta play it, and the droll. Triple cosmic. This should actually be double cosmic. This is wrong. This should be double cosmic. It's actually double cosmic, and then there's a lightning storm in here as well for back row. So it's actually 2 cosmics, triple thrust, lightning storm, dark ruler, evenly, dimension ground, yeah, and all the good targets for thrust. Thrust is super strong, and I think you need thrust and cross out when going first or second for the thrust. And yeah, that is the deck list that we are playing one little match with versus Rescue Ace. So we're gonna hop into that now. So yeah, water break while we get a die roll here. We win the die roll versus Rescue Ace, and we fucking open the Prince. Now, even if we had gone second, I don't know what this would look like. I don't know if I'll get a chance to see his hand, but my hand was Prince, Pike, Moulin, I really want to say droll imperm. Pretty positive. Not super positive, but pretty positive. I don't think I actually show my hand here, but it's fine. And so he has Ash, Veiler, I think it's Hydrant, Impulse, the Rescue Ace Impulse, and then another card I missed. Probably fucking Prosperity again, because this made up as Prosperity of game. I fucking bet. There's one spell there. I would not be shocked. Or maybe it's like Bonfire or something. Yeah, so I activate Prince Effect going first. Feeling pretty nasty, and he chains Impulse. And so he gets hit in an awkward scenario here where so he responds to the Impulse, he summons this guy, and this guy will I think when I activate a monster effect, it like draws 2, discards 1. So he's hunting for some extra hand traps. And so he gets into an awkward scenario here where so I'm activating Prince, and it's resolving. And so what I've learned with this deck, if you don't just have the Shrine in hand, it's best just to grab Shrine right away in case he has Droll. So I chose to do that. And then he gets hit with the awkward scenario here where I have Squad effect activating, or Squad, yeah. So I'm activating Squad, and I'm telling him what the chain links are going to look like, and he actually doesn't want to do the draw 2, discard 1, because he wants to stop the Squad, which is fair. You definitely want to stop that, and although I will say here, it was more of a bait because I searched the Shrine right away. If I didn't search the Shrine, then it would have been more impactful for him to Ash this, because then I would need to go to the Pike and then into the Shrine, but I just get the Shrine right away. More afraid of Droll than Ash, so that's all fine because we have DeepSea King, so we don't care. Now, one big misplay. Now I don't think it would have made too much of a difference, but he doesn't use his Veiler on my DeepSea King here, which is odd, but it's definitely fine for us. So we use Shrine, tribute the Prince to summon DeepSea King. Prince gets us back the Squad. So in case he does stop the DeepSea King, I still end on a Gaios, and I guess the question here is if he had okay. So we still can get to Moulin. So we hard open Moulin. We have Moulin Imperm Droll, I believe. And so he has Veiler in hand as his last hand trap. And if he would have had Veiler, the DeepSea King, he would have had 2 cards in hand, and then we could have gone to an enemy. An enemy could summon back Squad. Well, we would make an enemy, and then we would summon Moulin, discards 2 cards in his hand, and then we summon Squad back to the field. And from there, what I was thinking about was going for Sidra and putting back his Rescue Ace back in hand to make some further plays. But he doesn't Veiler the DeepSea King, so the value wasn't there to end up doing that. And so as we're going through the plays, yeah, I summon Schiff and 2 Pikes, make Purpoise, to summon back the 2 Pikes, and this is actually where he Veilers instead. He Veilers the Porpoise, which, you know, at this point I'm still feeling really good. I don't end up getting a Toad, but it's fine because if you just look at the card economy here, he's just not continuing. So I hard opened the Moulin, that was crazy. And if I didn't hard open the Moulin, I might have played that a little differently. But yeah, so he had Wanted and Hydrant, so he has no cards in hand. I discard Droll because I see that card has least amount of value currently, or I'm assuming it does. And then yeah, I make Gaios with the Moulin and Squad, and then I just leave the other monsters on board because there's really I would say yeah, the one misplay I made here was I wouldn't say, I don't know if I call it a misplay, but I couldn't do Squad into Gaios first because I needed my monsters to be level 4, and so I had to put Porpoise in the extra deck zone, extra monster zone to get the full value of the 2 Pikes. And maybe that wasn't necessary. Maybe I only needed 1 Pike after all, which is probably true. So I could have had like Porpoise, Gaios, and Lacia here, but we didn't do that. But it didn't matter. I know I'm only dealing with 1 card, so I let him go. So he tops deck, which was just wild. But I wasn't too worried about it because yeah, I make the Dragite with the Schiff and the Purpoise. He obviously searches OSS off that and doesn't matter, and that's just game from there. Now going into game 2 here. Okay, going to game 2 here. So I open Droll Ash here. Now I make a huge misplay, and this is like I need to make a tick for just like stupid mistakes, man. Because this is this was definitely more of a fun match. They need to leave, so we're playing quick, and I do not play well playing quick. I need to work on slowing down actually, which is funny because I already feel like I played too slow. But yeah, so he actually hard opens the OSS, which is great for him. But I draw him on the bonfire, search for the Poplar. All I see is imperm in hand. He probably has like an Ash as well too. I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, so he does, the standard plays, sends Poplar to make Anima, and now he's in OSS to send it. And for some silly, okay, so the reason I asked this, which is so not legit, he has 3 cards in hand. The reason I asked this because I am assuming that I'm more of afraid for some reason. I was more afraid of him having Preventer and Turbulence in hand opposed to just having Emergency in hand, and I chose that because this man okay. Backstory, I play against this guy all the time. He hard opens Preventer Turbulence like nobody's business. So I did just kind of assume that he was gonna have that. That was probably not the right assumption to make. I definitely should have just played for the emergency, held the Ash, and because under him being under draw, him getting the Hydrant wouldn't have been too important. But yeah, he has the emergency, so he gets straight to the Turbulence, and we can kind of already assume what he has going on here, as well as the rest of my hand. I actually hard opened the Deep-Sea King as well, and so I think the last card in his hand was Imperm that he sets. So he just kind of goes like full Princess Engrave, and then he's setting up. Looks like I have Butterfly Fish, Deep-Sea King, Pike, and I think Shrine is in there as well. Yeah, Shrine, Butterfly Fish, Deep-Sea King, and Shrine. Yeah, okay. So I go Pike, discarding the Butterfly Fish. Now I knew that the value that getting the add back Butterfly Fish wasn't going to be too important here. I was thinking about like if I needed that extra discard, and I knew I didn't, so I didn't end up adding it back, thinking that I could use the graveyard effect later to discard a card to summon it back, and then reading it later and being like, oh wait a minute, he needs a discard, and I don't have enough cards to do that. So I probably should have just added it back, but it didn't really matter in the end. So I get squad here. Off the Pike search. He doesn't respond to that. And then, yeah, opening the Deep-Sea King was definitely tough here. As that, just that like Deep-Sea King really feels like it's like what the list that I have here doesn't have too many bricks in it, but Deep-Sea King is unfortunately one of them. So I'm just kind of going through the line here, and instead of searching for Teus, because I felt like the search targets for Teus weren't very viable here, that I just ended up searching for the Ran. Now there's a couple. This basically wasn't a winnable game anyways. You could definitely debate like, oh, if I had gun, maybe Teus search is better. Even maybe like the Megalo search is better. But he has an Imperm negate, he has another monster negate, and he has a pop and then he can't activate their effects, plus Princess Pop. So I really wasn't doing anything here. Now I was hoping that I could make Kraken here, because if I can make Kraken, he can't Princess, and then I can deal with like I can have that pop, and I can deal with this board a little bit. But he did not. It wouldn't even matter anyway. Even like the Kraken wasn't doing enough. I didn't have enough gas to play here. So and like the hand just wasn't right. So maybe there's a better line here. Maybe gun would have been, maybe having gun and searching for the Teus would have been nice here, because then I could have gone like I could have searched Teus, and then no, because I wouldn't have a discard for it. No, so there really wasn't a line here, I don't think. Outside of the fact that I could have summoned Teus, search gun if he didn't negate it, and then use Butterfly Fish to discard the gun later to continue playing. That is one option, but I still don't think I would have got there. But yeah, so he hard stops me here, and I have nothing. He gets rid of my Ran, and I show the Deep-Sea King, and then we go on to the next game. So then game 3 here. Game 3 was actually pretty funny. I open DGG, the Different Dimension Ground or whatever. I open Ran, I open Butterfly Fish, Minstrel, and another. It was Shrine, Deep-Sea Fish, Minstrel, Ran, Different Dimension Ground. So, what's funny is that I actually had a great hand in a weird way, as long as my top deck was gnarly. I had the Ran discard for Butterfly Fish. Butterfly just gets added back to my hand. He has Droll and I think like another hand trap as well, but we just go straight into the Chening, and then we set the DDG, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. I don't know what he's doing against this, because his deck hard loses to like the shifter cards. And yeah, I had a really good setup. And even if a different dimensional ground was thrust, and I was able to, and my hand was a little bit better, then I would have got stopped, thrusted for the different dimensional ground, and then just end on the chinning anyways. But this is the hand we ended up with. So yeah, he's Rhoda here for airlifter, and he's going to normal the airlifter, I'm sure. Yeah, normal airlifter, and so I am waiting. I'm holding the DDG, waiting for the emergency. I want him to do emergency first, so he can't respond. I don't want him to be able to respond with the emergency because because if he can respond with it, then he can tribute one of his rescue A's, have him in the graveyard, and then get to the turbulence. And if he gets a rescue Ace in the graveyard, then he has he has a little bit more options on what he can do. He can summon Preventer that way as well. So yeah, we get the DGG here, basically denying whatever play he does. And so he's in a very sticky situation. He doesn't really have a clear line available for him. And just continuing on a little bit, he's just thinking through his plays. He ends up going for this like discard 2, draw 1, draw 2, discard 1 rescue Ace guy. And it has another effect where he can just target a monster I control and negate it, which for a second scared me because on resolution he tributes his airlifter for the emergency, and but emergency goes to graveyard, but the airlift will get banished. We're going a little deep here apparently, so I guess I'll let him go through his lines real quick. He's on Impulse. Impulse is the one that negates. Impulse just targets a monster, negates it. And so what I was afraid of here was, I'll let him get to it real quick. But yeah, he's taking a second here. But he will get there eventually. He's just debating which card he should be getting rid of. I can see why this would be difficult. I'm not sure the difference between like getting rid of airlifter versus getting rid of preventer. I don't know what the value he was looking for the preventer. Excuse me. But yeah, so here and so the last thing I was worried about was I knew it's a quick effect that he contributed, I believe, from his field or hand to then summon a rescue Ace from his deck. Now I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that he can just summon Turbulence off that thing, and if he can, then I'm screwed. So when airlifter gets banished, I decided not to activate Chenning because there's no point. Because if I activate Chenning, well, I guess excuse me. I guess there is a point to actually want to Chenning it is okay here, because I guess he could chain the Impulse, summon Turbulence that way, and then I could just banish the Turbulence on resolution. So I guess it's fine either way. He actually ends up with less cards. So there is that. I guess there was no fear in using Chenning here. But my only reason I didn't feel like I needed to, because I knew that he could chain the Impulse, and I guess I don't know what he has, but yeah, I mean technically there is a world where he could chain Impulse, and then and as another chain link he could play Imperm and then negate the Chenning that way, and then summon Turbulence. So I still think this is an okay play because he just couldn't do anything. He uses normal summon. He uses emergency. I'm not activating anything, so he's not gonna be able to trigger Impulse. He can't kill my Chenning, and yeah. So that was all she wrote for that little turn of his. And I top decked Teus like a mother. All right, dude. Now, my first play of action is Minstrel to pitch Fish, because I know I can look at his hand, get the fish back in my hand for discard outlets needed. And then he shows me his hand. He's hiding the droll like a silly little Billy. And so he thinks I actually want to hit the droll. And for a minute, I thought I want to hit droll too. But I'm looking at my hand. I'm thinking, okay, wait, how am I actually winning here? Because he does have a pretty meaty hand. And so right now, I'm going through the line thinking, what's the better option? I actually decide to hit the Ash. The Ash is a lot scarier because I don't want him to Ash my Shrine. And that's a lot more important than the droll search. And what's funny is I don't actually end up searching at all this turn. Going through the line, I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, how am I actually getting here? Like I need, because mainly I need enough discards, to do the Shrine play, and then in the Deep Sea King, and I'm thinking, can the Teus discard get me there as well? And just kind of like going through the plays in my head. So okay, on resolution, I activate Chenning because his Ash got banished, and then so I banish his Impulse. and the Emergency is graveyard, and then I shrine for the Deep Sea King, pitching the Teus, because I don't need the Teus. And then I pitch the Butterfly Fish to summon, I think, yeah, 2 pikes in the Goatee. I didn't know if it did matter what I added here, whether it was a 3rd pike or the Goatee, but yeah, so we were definitely fine here. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a preference on what I should be actually summoning here. I don't know if there's like a difference in value. So right now I'm like debating what I want to go into, and the last second I'm like, oh wait a minute, Bahamut isn't it? And maybe this would not be okay in a regular game, but you know we're just playing here testing, and so I'm like, no, I need to. I see lethals on board, so I'm like, no, just make the Kraken. Make the Kraken, and then yeah, just pop the Preventer, and now we'll just kind of go into battle phase. But then I'm like, oh wait a minute, he has. So first he has Preventer. He uses Preventer's effect to summon back the Airlifter. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Now I don't know if I kill him. Like I'm pretty sure I kill him, but I'm not positive, and I'm not really thinking about the math. So I'm like, all right, let's go into an enemy and do the old-fashioned summon the Minstrel and just hope. And it's not bad. I'll tell you right now, it's not bad mills. We mill Prince Mulan infantry. We are just fine. I see that, and I'm like, oh, this is the easiest thing. Infantry pops the Airlifter. We get the Shrine back on field. Make Leviature. We're just like obviously it's game at this point. We're just kind of going through the actions, but just if anything for myself, I'm going through it. Yeah, just searching the virtue stream. Because I was going first, so I sided it in, and then the shrine is actually the incorrect detach. It actually, I mean, minstrels are incorrect detach. It should be shrine. But it actually technically didn't matter because I was going to link it off into Mermail King in main phase 2 in case anything crazy happened, even though nothing was going to happen. But yeah, so that was a quick little game here, just to show you guys this random deck list I pulled out my butt that like is probably what I'd be leaning towards playing. There's definitely other cards I want to play as well, other cards I want to test as well. But yeah, so that was a quick little game here, and yeah, not much to say, just a little extra gameplay, extra match with a list that I just kind of threw out my butt. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and tomorrow we will get the deck profile out for the new for the new list for locals, and other than that, yeah, thanks so much. Peace.